And it's also a high school-based program. We have many high schools to be high school-based, so it's not just on the upper education level. We have some opportunities there. So I vow to you today, I'm doing everything in my personal power to make this happen. Go Eagles!
Yeah.
Mr. Keeney will talk to you next about his visit, but Mr. Keeney's wife is an alumnus from Embry-Riddle. And also Jeff and his wife just sent their longtime babysitter, who just started last week in Daytona Beach. So he's prejudiced.
Since I had the opportunity to go down there last week, I had strict instructions to at least slip her a little bit of pizza money when I got there, so I did just give her a little bit of time. Thank you, I'm Jeff Keeney. I've got a few businesses here in town based mainly on aerospace engineering and aerospace manufacturing. When I happened to be sitting in that seat when Hamilton Sunstand so graciously hosted this meeting on Tuesday, the goose pimples went up and the color ran from my face. I couldn't believe what was being suggested by Dr. Johnson. I became as excited, I think, as everyone in the room about this, and I just kind of jumped out of my chair and I said, well, let's make this happen. With my wife's background. Now, unfortunately, everything that we've done something every day. My wife has been very busy and out of town, and she's at the Atlanta airport now on the cell phone saying, I wish I could be there. Can you wait for the press conference? But she can't. The other reason is I usually dress a little bit nicer than this, but you may notice that Dr. Johnson was kind enough to give us this t-shirt, so I thought this shirt, thought it would be appropriate to wear it today. I want to tell you a little bit about our trip. And I have about 30 seconds left, so bear with me for about 4 or 5 more minutes. When you go to a trip like this and you sit down and Eric Boyles and Bob O'Brien and I were in the car and we're deciding how do we open the discussion. We have a list a mile long of things we want to figure out. Who starts the discussion? Who says what? So we show up and we go to, he rushes in his office. The first thing he says is, here's hats for everybody. Here's pens for everybody. Here's shirts for everybody. And let's all make sure we wear our shirts tomorrow when we meet. Okay, great. And then he says, here. And he hands us this piece of paper. And on this piece of paper were the answers to 98% of the questions that we had. That piece of paper was written specifically for the cities who are being considered. The only question we had left was, what's the building going to look like? And the next thing he said is, and by the way, here's the blueprints. So at that point, all the pressure was off. To condense it down, we had a whirlwind tour. We were graciously hosted by all the leadership, all the deans. The tour was amazing. I happened to have been there back in 1996, where it was the equivalent of a nice community college. That was not my experience. And I really want to impress upon everyone here what Embry-Riddle is really like. It's like being at the University of Illinois. It's like being at Purdue. It is like being at the University of Wisconsin. The only difference is the buildings are a little more modern than the old stately buildings. But there are student unions. There are dorms. There's Starbucks. There's pizza parlors on the campus. I mean, it is truly a campus atmosphere. It is truly a university atmosphere. Back in the day, back in the 80s, mid-80s, Embry-Riddle was really seen to be about flying. It's very well known for its flying. But today, you go there and it's impressive upon engineering, homeland security, air traffic control. They're into a lot of things, and they pride themselves, and they kept priding themselves over and over again with how they marry up engineering and aviation, how they marry those up with all the research and development they do. One of the reasons they're excited about Rockford is our airspace, is our airport, the way we have a private airspace for research and development. That really, really interests them. So, they're excited. They took us out for dinner, they fed us breakfast, they did everything to try and impress us, which took very little to impress us, I will tell you that. Since I'm not an elected official, I can speak freely. There's 3 ways we're going to win this, and only 3 ways. And that's through community, community, community. disagreements, but it's not okay to bicker. We were told specifically by the people that they have their media department watching everything that's printed, everything that's talked about on TV, everything that's on the internet. They've been looking since Wednesday. They came on Tuesday, the very next day they had their media people watching what's being said. It's okay for us to disagree, but we just need to be careful that we are all on the same page on moving this forward. And I believe our team of leaders and community leaders are the great team to land this. So I don't have any issue to say that this is ours to win. Thank you. To introduce Congressman Don Manzulli.
Well, this is very exciting. Dave Winters asked me to fly with him, and I hesitated. But if Embry-Riddle comes and want to get recertified, then I'll fly left seats. Okay? Is that all right with you? It's great. This is the mother lode. I don't know how we could be more specific to see the excitement that's happening here, but it's the perfect storm, if you want to call it that. Just think what we've been here in Rockford. Guys like Bob O'Brien saying, build it and they'll come. Well, who's they? Well, I'm not sure. But they will come. Meaning that if we build this airport into a world-class airport, then something good has to happen from it. Wow! I mean, I just think about what Embry-Riddle means. The name, the significance of a university with that type of importance around the world. People coming to Rockford to learn how to fly, to learn the different trades of engineering. Our job, and it started, I think, yesterday, is to get the myriads of aerospace industries in Rockford committed to offering apprenticeships and jobs to the people who graduate from Embry-Riddle. If we have the jobs, if we have the internships, then they will come. Because kids going to college today are looking for a job when they graduate. So what we have to do is to convince the Rockford community that this is the place to look, is to look to Embry-Riddle. And so we are really excited about what's happening. About 2.5 years ago, I was given the Wings of Freedom Award by the Aerospace Industry Association for the work that we had done on enhancing exports of U.S. aircraft parts. And I had the opportunity then to work with all the different people involved in aerospace manufacturing. I can assure you, every single one will receive a letter from me. It's in the hundreds and hundreds of them. About the opportunities here in Rockford, that we're going to center in on training, research and development, and things we haven't even thought about. And Bob, the they that you talked about, and you over here, Mike, the things that you talked about, Mike Dunn, these are going to come to fruition in our lifetime. We're going to see it. Today, we open up our arms and we fly like angels. When this is formally announced, we won't be able to sit. We'll be off the ground. So it's wonderful the way people work together. The community is always held together. The highest unemployment in the country. This city has never failed to come back, and we're coming back big time.